Hello, BookTube. I'm Shawn the Book Maniac. Welcome to Always Doing. This is Kazen from Always Doing, and this is part 2 of our tipsy video making.
Slightly disguised. Just
Slightly
had a little
tipsy.
amaretto tipsy.
Gotta up your drinking game.
I don't drink very often. This is probably making me more tipsy than it should.
I think we're both okay.
We're both
To
okay.
continue,
We can
to
talk
continue.
about books.
We can talk about books. So, what are we doing now?
So Shawn was very gracious and showed me his full library and said, go have fun. So I went through all of his shelves and found some books that either I'm interested in, that I'm thinking of reading myself, that I want to hear him talk about. I have questions. And the first one is actually one that we tentatively think that we may buddy read. I have to get my hands on it somehow in the future. But it's One Fine Day by Molly Panter Downs.
Yes. And I can't remember how I heard about it, but I follow a lot of booktubers and bloggers who are interested in British fiction in the mid-20th century. This was published in 1947, and that's kind of that's in my wheelhouse, if I can use a young'un expression like that. Molly Panter Downs, can you think of a more British name than Molly Panter Downs? Sounds like a mid-19th century British porn name. I don't know anything about her. She was born in 1906. She died in 1977. She was the London correspondent for the New Yorker.
So that's how I know her, because of her book London War Notes that Persephone collected many but not all of her columns, and I absolutely loved it. It was so good. It's actually my first wrap-up ever, I think. For my channel, yeah. So, and it was just great. And I would read like a month's worth of these columns at a time, and it went through what the war was like from a British perspective, aimed at American audience. And I just learned like London during the Blitz, and it was great.
It's World War II?
World War II, but it's nonfiction. I don't usually read World War II fiction so much.
So what's that about? I'm curious about that. It's interesting.
Just,
A lot of people have it.
yeah.
That thing. I don't have that thing.
Yeah.
I don't seek World War II fiction out, but don't have a thing about
Yeah.
it. But what's the thing?
Overdone. Just there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it tends to be on similar themes. And it's not my cup of tea, really. It just usually, but the nonfiction I don't mind because I know it's real people and it's their real experience, and I can get through it better than something completely made up.
World War One. Is World War One in your wheelhouse?
There's a book I want to read that's historical fiction about World War One, and it's about an ambulance driver. I will have to get back to you on the title if I can remember it, but it was about an ambulance driver. I think it was World War One, and that's medical, and I thought that was interesting.
This is a good place to say. I should have said it at the beginning of both of these videos, but this is a good place for me to say you must subscribe to Kazen's channel. Always Doing. She needs exponentially more. She deserves exponentially more subscribers than she has.
And he's incredibly sweet.
For my viewers who don't know you, why did you say that about the medical?
So I'm a medical interpreter here in Japan, which means that I work in hospitals, and when there's an English-speaking patient that needs to communicate with a Japanese-speaking doctor, I'm the person who repeats everything you say in a language you don't understand.
So this is set in the summer of 1946 in an English village. After years of separation, the husband and wife and their daughter set about coping with an altered landscape. First published in 1947. I can't understand if the man had gone off to war and came back. I'm not sure, but I'm in. It's 177 pages. If you can find it, let's buddy read it.
I'm on the lookout for it. One thing I really like about her writing is she's very observant, at least in the nonfiction, and it really made you feel like you were there. And little things like storefronts, like there was a storefront during the Blitz and they had sandbags out front. One storefront painted it the same color as their facade, and everyone loved that and thought that was the best thing. Just like little things like that really say a lot in a few words, which is good because that's kind of almost a novella.
Opening sentence. The day promised to be hot. All right, that sounds fun. I'm looking forward to that. What's next?
Next is a book I think you've read, The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson, because I've been meaning to read Maggie Nelson Blewitts, Argonauts, and then she also has some nonfiction about a murder in her family as well. This is also nonfiction, yeah. But is this a good place to start, do you think? With
it is. Okay. So I loved it. With qualifications, I really liked it. Okay. I haven't read anything else by her. She's a genius, and she's a beautiful writer. And this is about, this is her memoir of her pregnancy with her lover who was at the same time going through male to female gender reassignment surgery. It's powerful. What I thought weakened it considerably was that as an academic person or cultural theory person, she included so many quotes from cultural theorists.
Oh.
And at first, it was just a little bit. And as the memoir went on, the quotes got larger and larger. Look at that.
They're all in italics.
Yeah, italics. I don't like italics, but what I objected to more than that was that, for me, it revealed that she wasn't confident enough in her own ability to tell her story. And I am in the minority with that critique, but as a reader, I thought she should have just told her own story because she was a beautiful writer and the story was so powerful. Just if that cultural theory and gender theory and academic, post-structuralist gender, blah, 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 I'm not poo-pooing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if that made you the writer that you are, then just write and tell me your story because it was so powerful. Reading all these excerpts from the theory, I didn't like it. But you might like it more than that.
I may. I'm excited to give this one a try at some point.
I'm curious to hear what you think.
And next I have two books because I pulled one off the shelf and Shawn immediately demanded that I pull the second one off. The one I
Control
got
Queen.
was the Tsar of Love and Techno by Anthony Mara.
Yes.
And then you had me pull off The Constellation of Vital Phenomena as
Yes.
well by the same author.
So I'm not going to say too much about this because do you know that this is my second favorite novel of all time?
I do not.
Okay. Published, 10 years ago, I'm not sure. And it's set in Chechnya during both of the Chechnyan conflicts with the cast of characters. And I loved everything about this. The characters were so richly drawn, and it was one of the most powerful novels about war. And the writing was masterful. Everything, blah, blah, blah. I've talked ad nauseum about this book. So this is the first book. And then a few years later, he wrote The Tsar of Love and Techno.
Now, this is short stories, though.
It is, but they're linked.
Oh, see, I like that.
Yes. And I really liked this. I think I still gave it 5 stars. It didn't quite work for me as much as that. But that's fine. It's still really powerful. And I also... Are you a serial monogamist in terms of your reading?
No,
Okay.
no.
Neither am I. I'm usually reading a dozen books at a time. And this book does not lend itself to that.
Okay. That's
So
good to
I
know.
didn't get everything that I could have. I started it on audio with audio text combo, and I didn't like the audio narration, so I abandoned the audiobook and then just read it, but I was, reading umpteen other books, and I think I missed some nuances.
So it'd be good to devote a weekend and blast through it.
I want to reread it. Maybe
wow.
even with you.
That would be interesting.
But it's really good.
Do I have to read this first?
You don't have to read it first, but you must promise me that you will read this eventually.
At some point in my long life,
That's right.
I will attempt to start
Yes.
it. Yes.
So, no, this is really, really good. And I have a surprise for you.
Oh?
Last year, when I hit 1,000 subscribers,
Yes.
I had a book giveaway. This year, I hit 2,000 subscribers, and I had a book giveaway.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. But I had a book giveaway for this. But I must have been drunk, when I
Well, your glass is empty, so it must be pretty.
when I ordered the book. So, where is it?
I'm opening the gift, and he's opening a bottle of wine.
So I accidentally ordered this for my book giveaway, which is not what I intended. So this is for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's so sweet.
I don't know. Did the camera see
I'm
it?
sorry.
I'm not sure. I'm not
it's
sure.
It's a different copy.
It's a hardcover
It's
copy.
a hardcover cut. It's a real. Thank you.
A book olive.
Yes.
Also loved this book a lot.
Oh, that's good. That's another
Yeah.
good sign because if
Yes.
she likes something, I usually like
Yeah,
it.
so
So
it's for you.
thank you so much. Okay, this
And
is
if
going right on the
the
TBR
timing
shelf.
works out, maybe I'll do a buddy read where I'm rereading and you're reading.
That would be
possibly.
good.
No pressure.
Thank you.
Oh.
What's interesting is that I've seen this book, but with another cover.
Have you?
Neither one of these. It looks
Oh.
like a tape, like a cassette tape.
Well, there's a
I'll
little
have
bit
to
of
see.
cassette tape stuff
Yeah,
happening
but
here,
it's like it's a little bit more this color,
Huh.
but with a cassette tape on it. Speaking of books
Yes.
that I am relieving you of. So Shawn, as you know, bails
Just a bit. Just
every once in a while.
every once in a few hours.
So he was kind enough to let me look through some of his bales and to
The
let
bale
me
pile.
the bale pile and let me take a couple home to see if I like them. And so I grabbed a couple.
Great.
And one is Oshimbo. It's the first volume. And the story is by Kariya Tetsu, and the art is by Hanasaki Akira. And it's a manga. It's a foodie manga.
It's a foodie manga.
And I like foodie manga, and I like chef memoirs and all kinds of food stuff. So I'm excited to see what this one is about, because I've heard about it. I've read it on like foodie manga lists. Like, this is one you should read. And the other one is one that I've seen several booktubers. It was a Kendra?
I know Kendra loved
Kendra,
it. My memory is Kendra loved it, and beyond that, I can't remember.
But it's Sorry to Disrupt the Peace by Patty Yumi Patro. And I remember when I heard about it, I thought it might be a me book, but I can understand that it might not be a Shawn
It wasn't
book.
for me, but that's fine. Yeah.
So hopefully, give this a try.
It's a
see how it
beautiful
goes.
hardcover.
It is. It's got the nice little shiny on it.
And
There we
then,
go.
if you look, like, what's going on underneath the dust jacket? It's really like, hello! I like green, but that's all. Oh,
Oh!
look at that.
This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents are either the products of the authors. Why is this on the front cover?
I know.
What? Does this maybe this relates to the story? This looks like the British cover of Freshwater that just puts everything right
which
on
was
the...
a bad choice.
It looks like an arc. Is anything on the back? Nope, the back is unscathed, but
But I
front,
still
God.
feel like I need to put my sunglasses on.
I will
It's
put this
really-
away right
I
away.
love green. Green is my
Green
favorite
is-
color, but it's
oh.
like, wow.
This is quite... And it's not even... It's like a dark lime that still manages to be fluorescent, at least in this light. So we'll cover that up.
I love the author photograph. Let's see,
Okay, yeah.
see if that will focus. She's so butch.
See? Oh, nice.
Isn't she fabulous?
Yeah.
She lives in Los Angeles, your favorite city.
Urban planning. We don't like Los Angeles.
Please enjoy. Or
I will.
You don't have
hopefully.
to enjoy.
And if I bail, I can at least know that you also bailed.
It'll
and-
either be a bonding moment or a bonding moment.
Exactly. Win-win.
Win-win. So what are you going to be reading next?
So for May, because as you know, we have a new emperor here in Japan, and it's a very historic time, so I thought I would read Japanese nonfiction. Not everything I read, but a good chunk for the month. And I've read Hiroshima so far. I have a review of that
John
up.
Hersey. Fabulous
And-
review.
Yeah.
I will
thank
link
you.
it in the show notes.
And after that, I wanted to read about the bombing on Nagasaki because it's not as well known, it's not as much discussed as Hiroshima, because that was the first, and then Nagasaki's forgotten. So there's a book called The Bells of Nagasaki by Nagai Tagashi. I believe it's out of print, but I was able to track down a copy at my local library, which has English books now, which makes me really excited. So I'm going to be picking that up soon. So that's next for me. What do you have on your radar coming up soon?
On Monday, I'm starting 2 buddy reads. One is a Barbara Pym novel. Have you read any Barbara Pym?
One.
Which one?
Something Prudence. No?
Jane and Prudence.
Jane and Prudence.
It's not my favorite, but did you like it?
3 stars, which for me was okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
It was lovely and delightful.
Okay.
But it didn't stick.
Okay, there's other ones I would recommend. And this one is one of the last ones that was published before she died. And I'm reading a Barbara Pym novel. I can't remember the title. Something about leaves. But for the last year and a half or more, I've been reading the complete works of Barbara Pym in sequence, and this is the next on the list. And I'm also starting a novel from the Women's Prize long list, Ordinary People, by Diana Evans. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about it.
The Diana Evans Ordinary People novel is a buddy read with Britta Bowler. Britta Bowler and I have already predicted that it's going to be a mutual bail, but
You never know.
fingers crossed. Anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you so much for your hospitality, and I've had so much fun today because I just moved to Tokyo, so I don't know where any of the bookstores are, and I don't know where any of the cool places are, and you showed me some of those earlier today, and that was great.
I showed you where the bookstores that have gone out of business are.
It was good, you can mark them on the map,
That's
and
right.
like, that's good, and there's some good eateries that look like down there, some neat restaurants, so Thank you for that.
What is the next video that you will be planning to post on your channel?
So recently I went home to the United States and I have 2 book hauls. And one of them, because I brought a lot back, and one of them is books that I bought. I like searched out or I just bought. The other is that I went home and my mom said, you have a lot of books here. You need to take them home with you. So I went through my childhood shelves, which is basically through college, and I brought a bunch back with me. And so that book, if it's not up already, it will be up soon. So
I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah.
The next video that I will probably post, do you belong to Scribd?
I do not.
Okay. Early in my booktube days, I created a tag called the 10 books tag, which I thought was like a catch-all tag for people that, you know, if you're new to booktube and you want to talk about books that are on your shelves or books you've read but they don't fit into hauls or TBRs or something, you can just pull 10 books off your shelf and talk about them.
Nice.
They could be books you've read. They could be books you haven't read. But just they could be books you don't own but you've read about in the New York Times or whatever. Just talk about 10 books. And then more recently I adapted it for Scribd, but it could be adapted to any other thing like Audible or
Your local
Kindle
library.
or local library, anything. The last 10 books you added to your saved list. So will probably be editing that video. The second iteration of the Scribd version of the 10 books tag will be coming soon. Or
Excellent.
maybe already up. Aren't you excited?
Very excited. Tanoshimi.
So, soon, my husband Kenji will be coming home with pizza.
I'm excited.
So I think we should wrap this up. And maybe slap back a couple more drinks and carry on with the evening's festivities.
Sounds wonderful.
But thank you, cousin, for such a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me. Showing me around.
Can't wait for our next video.
Yes.
Next weekend?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching.